My beloved child, there are mornings when you awaken with a heaviness in your heart, as though carrying a winter that has not yet melted away. You look back upon the paths you have walked and wonder why life has turned in directions you never chose. I know those questions. I hear every sigh you hide within silence. And in the very moment when you believe you are most lost, you are in fact drawing nearer to the meaning I planted within your journey long ago. You have not wandered away from the light, you are simply passing through a stretch of road where your eyes are still learning to adjust to the darkness. Today, I desire that you look again at all that has happened with a calmer heart, so that you may recognize that none of your steps have ever been without purpose. You often think that seasons of uncertainty are signs of being forgotten, yet I have never taken my eyes off you, not even for a single breath. When your prayers seem to fall into silence, it is not the quiet of absence, but the stillness necessary for you to learn how to listen more deeply. On the days when you do not understand why certain doors close, I am opening other paths that you have not yet had the patience to see. Your journey is not a collection of scattered mistakes. It is a map being drawn gradually. And every road you travel is preserved as part of a greater design. You have also believed that the small things you do make no difference. A word of forgiveness, a moment when you choose silence instead of retaliation, to a step back taken to preserve peace. You consider them too small to be remembered. But I tell you that no seed of love is ever lost. Your quiet actions are gently transforming the soil of your own heart and the hearts of those you encounter. You do not immediately see the results because many good things must first take root deeply before they can bloom. Do not measure your worth by the applause you hear. Instead, look at the gentle transformation unfolding within your heart day by day. At times, you try to change the circumstances around you, hoping that everything outside will shift so your soul may feel lighter. Yet true transformation begins when what is within you is renewed. When you learn to look upon the past with gratitude rather than regret, when you slow your pace to preserve peace instead of running after fear, you are growing in ways the world rarely recognizes. Your patience is not weakness, it is the sign of a soul maturing, even in the seasons when you believe you have lost your way. I am preparing a new chapter for you, one in which you will understand that every tear and every stumble has been a preparation for the light waiting ahead. There are days when you look around and feel as though you stand on the margins of your own story. Others seem to walk with certainty, while you move through a thin mist without clear signs. I understand that feeling, for your heart longs to know that it is seen and remembered. Listen carefully, none of your steps ever fall outside my sight. Even when you believe you have gone too far, I remain there, quietly preserving the deepest direction of your soul. Sometimes you interpret silence as abandonment, yet that silence is like the pause between breaths, where life continues even when you do not notice it. You often measure your journey by visible signs, success, praise, or a sense of certainty. When these do not appear, you assume you have been forgotten. But human eyes see only short moments, while I behold the entire path you have yet to complete. Long ago it was spoken, I have called you by name, you are mine, Isaiah 4:3-1. Those words were never meant for strangers alone, but for every soul that feels small within a vast world. When you receive this truth with your heart rather than merely your ears, you will understand that your existence is not accidental. I do not require perfection in order to remember you. I ask only that you continue walking, even if each step feels small. There are seasons when you feel as though you are walking in circles along an old road, as if no progress has been made. You wonder why the same lessons return, why familiar trials appear again. I do not condemn you for growing weary of these cycles, for even the strongest souls sometimes doubt themselves. Yet what you do not see is that each return is different. You yourself have changed, becoming deeper and more patient than before. When you look back with gentleness rather than self-accusation, You will realize that you are not standing still but being shaped. Your journey is not a straight line. It resembles a winding river that sometimes flows near old places only to deepen its course. At times you think that if I were truly beside you, you would not feel such loneliness. Loneliness convinces you that you walk alone within a vast and empty room. But remember that your emotions do not always reveal the full truth. Even when you cannot feel support, I am working through ordinary moments, an unexpected encounter, a word that causes you to reconsider, or a peace you cannot explain. I do not always appear through grand signs. Often I am present within the smallest details, easily overlooked. And when you begin to recognize these quiet signs, you will understand that you were never forgotten. You were simply learning to see with new eyes. Therefore, as you continue forward after days that felt lost, do not carry the fear that your journey lacks meaning. Every experience, every mistake, every tear is preserved as part of the story I am writing together with you. I do not demand that you understand everything now. I only invite you to trust that you are being guided, even when you cannot yet see the destination. Peace does not come from controlling all things, but from accepting that you are accompanied. And when you one day look back upon the road behind you, you will realize that the moments you believed you walked alone were the very moments when I walked closest beside you, so gently that you recognized it only after your heart had grown wiser. There are deeds you perform that no one notices. No applause follows. No recognition is given. Quietly, you choose forgiveness instead of revenge. You offer help when no one asks. You remain silent when words might wound. And in certain nights you ask yourself, do these small things truly matter? I hear that question in the depths of your heart. I see every hidden act you carry out in secret. And I want you to understand that true worth is never measured by outward noise, but by the silent transformation taking place within. The world often teaches you that only grand achievements are worthy of remembrance. Yet I have long said, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 1:6-10. And these words were never meant to burden you with the need to prove yourself, but to free you from that pressure. When you remain faithful in small things, you are training your heart to become steady and resilient. A brief prayer before sleep, a decision not to speak ill of another, a moment when you restrain your anger. These are quietly laying the foundation of a steadfast inner life. You do not see a foundation before the house is built, yet it is the foundation that prevents everything from collapsing. What you do in silence today will become your strength tomorrow. There are moments when you grow weary of always being the one who yields. You may feel as though you give much and receive little in return. Yet giving does not diminish you. It enlarges the capacity of your heart. Each time you choose goodness, you allow light to enter the hidden corners within you. The seeds of love you sow may not sprout before your eyes, but they are silently taking root in other souls. I do not allow a single seed to be forgotten, even when you cannot witness its harvest. And within the waiting, you learn patience in a way no spoken lesson could ever teach. Do not underestimate the small steps in your journey of transformation. Yesterday you may have reacted with anger, but today you pause for a moment before speaking. Once you may have clung tightly to resentment, yet now you begin to release it, little by little. These changes are quiet, yet they testify that you are growing. Spiritual maturity does not arrive through a sudden explosion of change. It unfolds through daily decisions repeated with faithfulness. I rejoice when I see you refusing to give up on yourself. Remember that everything done in love carries influence far beyond your sight. You do not know who has been touched by your smile or who rediscovered hope because of a word of encouragement you once offered. I am weaving all these small acts into a greater tapestry that you cannot yet fully see. Therefore, do not lose heart when you think you are doing only ordinary things. In my eyes, nothing done with love is ever ordinary. As you remain faithful in small matters, you are preparing your heart for greater things that will be entrusted to you at the appointed time. There are evenings when you look back on your day and feel that nothing significant was accomplished. No remarkable achievement. No dramatic turning point. Only simple moments. A gentle conversation. A restrained, harsh word. A decision to continue despite exhaustion. It is easy to believe such moments are too small to matter. Yet life is not built upon dramatic breakthroughs. It is shaped by quiet choices repeated day after day. When you choose what is right in silence, you are shaping your soul. You may not perceive immediate change. Yet each small action is like persistent drops of water, softening solid stone. I once reminded you, do not despise these small beginnings, Zechariah 4:10. For greatness always begins as a seed. A short prayer before leaving home can transform how you see the entire day. A moment of patience during tension can prevent a needless fracture. You do not need extraordinary deeds to prove your worth. You only need faithfulness to the good that lies within your reach. At times you feel as though you are the only one striving to remain upright in a restless and chaotic world. You wonder why you must be the one who yields or forgives first. I am not asking you to be weak. I am teaching you a different kind of strength. True strength is not found in defeating others, but in refusing to let darkness occupy your heart. Each time you choose love where hatred would be easier, you create space for light to remain. These choices are quiet, yet they leave lasting marks within you and upon those around you. You should also know that your silent efforts never disappear into emptiness. There are impacts you may never perceive with human eyes. Your perseverance today may become someone else's example tomorrow. A single act of kindness may be the very thread preserving hope for a person standing on the edge of despair. I see these things, and I keep them as precious stones stored within an unseen treasury. Therefore, when you feel that you are doing only small things, do not allow discouragement to take root. What seems small in your hands today is the portion entrusted to you for this moment. I do not ask you to do everything. I invite you only to be faithful with what is yours. In time, you will realize that what once appeared insignificant has shaped the person you are becoming. Along this journey, no act of love is wasted, and no choice toward goodness is ever meaningless. There are times when you believe that peace will come if circumstances change. You imagine that a different job, kinder people around you, or a rewritten past would finally lighten your heart. You place hope in external shifts while forgetting that the fiercest storm often resides within your own thoughts. I do not deny the difficulties you face, yet I invite you to look deeper. What binds you is not always circumstance itself, but the meaning you assign to it. When your perspective is renewed, the world before you begins to change as well. I once reminded you, do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 1:2-2. For true renewal begins within. When you allow old patterns of thinking to be replaced with truth and hope, you open the door to freedom. You cannot control everything that happens, but you can learn to respond with calm rather than fear. Each time you choose trust instead of self-doubt, you strengthen the foundation of your inner life. This transformation may be quiet, yet it gently reshapes your soul. As your inner world is renewed, what once overwhelmed you becomes merely a challenge you are able to walk through. There are memories you still carry as burdens. You recall past mistakes and convince yourself that you deserve to live beneath their weight. Yet I do not desire for you to remain confined within the room of yesterday. When you learn to look upon your wounds through the light of mercy, they no longer define you. You are not imprisoned by what has happened. You are invited to become a healed version of yourself. Inner renewal does not erase the past, but it transforms the meaning the past holds within your life. I, too, have often seen you waiting for a grand sign to confirm that you have truly changed. You long to witness a clear transformation, a powerful leap forward that proves growth has taken place. Yet spiritual maturity rarely arrives like a sudden storm sweeping through in a single moment. It unfolds more like dawn, beginning with faint light that gradually spreads across the horizon until everything is illuminated. Perhaps yesterday anger came quickly to you, but today you pause for a moment before responding. Perhaps in the past you saw only failure, while now you begin to discover lessons hidden within hardship. These small movements are not insignificant. They are the quiet evidence that your heart is being renewed from within. Therefore, do not wait for perfect circumstances before allowing peace to enter your life. Let peace begin within you even while many things remain unfinished. When your perspective changes, you will realize that many doors were never truly locked. You simply had not yet tried to open them with the key of faith. I do not promise that every challenge will disappear, but I promise that you can walk through them with a transformed spirit. And when you look back upon your journey, you will discover that the greatest miracle was not how circumstances changed around you, but how deeply you yourself were renewed. There will be moments when you choose silence in the middle of an argument and others assume you are weak. There will be times when you slow your steps instead of reacting quickly, and people will believe you lack determination. The world often celebrates strong reactions, sharp words, and noisy victories. Yet, I look into the depth of your heart, where waves are restrained before they overflow their banks. The calmness you are learning is not fear, it is strength refined through discipline. Patience is not retreat, but the ability to stand firm without the need to make noise. It has been written, "Whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than one who takes a city." Proverbs 1:6-3-2. You may hear these words and think they are merely moral advice, but self-control is among the greatest victories because it occurs where no human eyes can see. When you govern your reactions, you protect your inner peace from external storms. You refuse to let fleeting emotions determine the lasting direction of your life. Each time you master yourself, you grow a little stronger than you were the day before. There will be seasons when you feel you have waited too long. You pray and hope, yet what you long for still has not taken form. In such waiting, doubt quietly attempts to enter your heart. But patience is not passive resignation. It is trust being tested and strengthened. As you learn to remain steady amid uncertainty, you cultivate a heart that is not easily shaken. Within that silence, your faith sinks deeper roots than you realize. At times, you may believe peace will only come once every problem has been solved. You imagine rest arriving when pressure disappears and conflict fades away. Yet the peace I desire to give you does not depend on perfect conditions. It is steadiness, even while the waves continue to rise. When you maintain stillness of soul amid turbulence, you live out a strength many cannot comprehend. This is not passivity. It is the deliberate choice not to allow external chaos to define who you are. So when you slow down, when you choose to speak less and listen more, do not fear being misunderstood. Qualities the world considers weakness may in truth be signs of a maturing soul. I am not shaping you to be the loudest voice in the room, but the most steadfast presence when trials arrive. One day you will recognize that the patience and peace you protect today have saved you from hurried decisions that might have led to regret. In that quietness, you are not fragile. You are growing in a way that is deep, enduring, and unshakable. There are paths you have walked that seemed filled only with delay and brokenness. Looking back, you may feel you have lost more than you gained, moved slower than others, or wandered into turns you never intended to take. Deep within, you may fear that time is passing without anything new awaiting you. Yet I want you to view those seasons with different eyes. Not every slowing is a setback, and not every detour is a mistake. Often the uneven roads are preparing you for a chapter that would have come too soon for you to sustain had it arrived earlier. You may think you are merely surviving hardship, yet I am doing far more within your life. I am reshaping your thoughts, strengthening perseverance, and softening the hardened edges of your heart. A promise has been spoken, for I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 2:9-11. These words are not empty comfort, but assurance that your future is not governed by chance. Even during days that feel directionless, I am laying each stone of the foundation before you. You do not yet see the whole picture, but I already behold its completion. There are skills you have learned quietly without recognizing their worth. The endurance formed during difficult seasons will become strength when new opportunities appear. Failures have taught you the truth about both your limits and your abilities. When a door closed, you felt rejected, yet often it closed to prevent you from entering a place not meant for you at that time. I do not remove what is good from you. I preserve something better for the proper moment. Do not rush to conclude your story while the current chapter remains unfinished. The pages you are reading may be filled with tears, but they do not represent the entire book. Each season that felt like wandering was preparing you for the next. As you learn to trust even when vision is unclear, you will enter the future with a steadier heart. Preparation does not always occur beneath bright light. Often it unfolds during the quietest days. Therefore, instead of fearing what lies ahead, see the present as a refining workshop. Here your character is shaped, your faith purified, and your vision expanded. I do not lead you through trials to exhaust you, but to strengthen you for what awaits. A new chapter does not arrive randomly. It comes when you are ready to enter it with the maturity required. When that moment comes, you will look back upon difficult seasons with a gentle smile, understanding that no period of your life was wasted. Each one prepared the way for the hope now unfolding before you. Now, as you reflect upon the journey, upon small beginnings, inner renewal, and the strength born from patience, I invite you to pause and behold the whole picture with gentler eyes. You no longer stand at the starting point. You have passed through seasons that felt barren, days without visible light, and nights of prayer when answers seemed distant. Yet you are still here, and that alone is testimony that grace continues to surround you even when you fail to recognize it. Perhaps you still carry questions that remain unanswered, and wounds that have not fully healed. I do not hurry to erase all your pain. For some, healing unfolds only through time and growth. But know this, not a single tear you have shed has been wasted. Each time you fell and rose again, you moved forward on a journey I have watched with unwavering love. I once believed that I needed to understand the entire plan before I could move forward with peace. Yet true peace does not come from knowing every detail, but from knowing who the one is that leads me. When I place my trust in you, I do not walk in uncertain darkness. I walk under the covering of love. There are turns in the road I never anticipated, yet nothing has ever surprised you. Some doors have closed and left me disappointed, but you had already prepared other doors, ones more fitting for the person I am becoming. Let me remember that my life is not a series of random events. Every person I encounter, every challenge I face, every opportunity that comes and goes contributes to shaping me in deeper ways. Today, I may not yet see the meaning behind a failure. I may not understand why I had to walk through a long detour. Yet one day I will look back and realize that those very moments protected me from paths that were never meant for me. I will not fear seasons of silence, for sometimes, within quietness, my soul is renewed in the gentlest way. When the noise of the outside world fades, I begin to hear the soft voice within my heart more clearly. That voice does not force or threaten. It invites me to draw closer to the better version of myself that you saw from the very beginning. And as I learn to rest in that sacred presence, I no longer panic when circumstances around me begin to change. You never promised that I would never stumble again. Yet you promised that I would never fall alone. You did not promise that doubt would never visit my heart. But even when my faith is as small as a mustard seed, you are still able to bring forth something great from it. I do not need to become perfect before stepping into a new chapter. I only need the willingness to keep trusting, even when my heart still trembles. And one day, standing at the threshold of a new beginning, I will realize that I have been prepared for far longer than I imagined. The days that once seemed wasted were shaping perseverance within me. Rejections taught me that my worth does not depend on human approval. Nights of loneliness revealed that sacred presence does not depend on fleeting emotions. Everything has been quietly forming strength within my spirit. I am not forgotten. I am not abandoned along the journey. I am not wandering aimlessly in a meaningless story. Everything I experience, joy and sorrow, success and failure alike, is guiding me toward where I truly need to be. Hope begins to rise again within my heart, and I continue forward believing that every season of my life carries purpose. And when weariness comes, I remember that you are still here, never distant, never absent. You are not only waiting at the end of the road, you walk beside me with every step. Every heartbeat and every breath I take is a reminder that grace is still at work. I may not yet understand the full meaning of today, but one day I will see clearly that no season of my life has ever been without purpose. All things are being woven together into a story of hope, where fear no longer rules my future because I know I have never walked alone. Now, in the sacred stillness of my soul, having reflected upon my journey and recognized meaning in every season, I open my heart completely. I no longer hold back unnamed anxieties, nor do I hide fragile longings. I allow my prayer to rise before you, like incense not out of ritual, but from sincerity of heart. I lift my prayer to you from the deepest place within my soul, without concealment or hesitation, trusting fully in your presence. Almighty God, my loving Father, I come before you with a heart still bearing wounds, yet longing for healing. There were seasons when I walked in confusion and questioned whether I was moving in the right direction. Today I surrender to you every path I once believed was lost. Grant me light to look upon my past with gratitude rather than regret. Shape my thoughts so that I no longer condemn myself for former mistakes. And if I must continue walking through uncertainty, grant me faith strong enough not to fear the darkness ahead. Merciful Father, the one who sees what is hidden, I thank you that not a single tear of mine has been forgotten. When I do small things unnoticed by others, remind me that you see and preserve them. When perseverance feels exhausting in silence, renew my strength so I do not lose heart. I offer you every small act of my life, gentle words spoken, difficult forgiveness extended, choices made to preserve peace amid conflict. Transform these small seeds into a harvest of hope. And when results do not appear immediately, teach me to wait with trust. Gracious God, I give you thanks, for you never abandoned me during my weakest days. I thank you for doors that closed, even when I did not understand why. Through them, I was protected from paths that did not belong to me. I thank you for the people you placed along my journey, some who stayed, others who walked beside me only for a season, yet all left behind lessons of growth. I thank you for the patience you have shown me, even when I doubted and delayed. Your unchanging love has carried me through every season of life. Beloved Father, I thank you for the new hope rising within me today. I thank you that I can now look back on my journey with renewed vision. You have turned pain into strength, failure into wisdom, and seasons of wandering into opportunities for growth. I thank you for every day I am given breath, movement, and learning. I thank you because you do not merely wait for me at the destination, You walk with me through every small step. And as I look toward the future, fear no longer holds me captive. For I know that everything I experience carries meaning within your loving plan. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we may build a strong and growing community of faith.